You guys, we have got to talk about the Bachelor franchise because it is not what it once was. People are not talking about it like they're talking about the season of Love Island. There's been some drama with what the host Jesse Palmer has had to say about the upcoming season of Paradise. Former Bachelor contestants are clapping back at what he had to say. We're gonna get into what has everyone so disgusted and how this franchise could maybe turn itself around. Over the years, I've had an on and off love for the Bachelor franchise, but in the more recent years, I, along with a lot of other people, found that things have just been going a bit downhill and there's been less interest in the show. I do feel like before social media was as big as it is now, people did find love on the show. I mean, Jade and Tanner, Sean Lowe and Catherine, I freaking love these couples, but in more recent times, interest in watching has gone down, and surely that did come from people just going on not for the right reasons, along with some other things like, you know, Chris Harrison leaving the show and drama within the franchise. If you remember, Chris Harrison left the Bachelor franchise in 2021 after facing backlash for defending contestant Rachel Kirkconnell's past racist behavior during an interview with Rachel Lindsay. His comments sparked widespread criticism, leading to a temporary hiatus and eventually his permanent exit after nearly 20 years of hosting the show. Rachel Kirkconnell was on Matt James' season of The Bachelor, and he was the first Black Bachelor and had never been on a previous season, breaking a tradition, and was originally cast for Claire Crawley's season of The Bachelorette before being promoted to Bachelor. And the reason being was because the franchise was being called out for the fact that they needed more diversity and they hadn't had a Black Bachelor, and so Matt James it was. Now, after Chris Harrison stepped down from hosting the show, Tayshia Adams and Caitlin Bristow took over to host for a second before they officially named Jesse Palmer the host of The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, and The Golden Bachelor. The Bachelor has been a part of pop culture for what feels like forever, and for years, people were obsessed, like watch parties, fantasy leagues, deep dives into contestants' past, like everything. People were obsessed with every drop they could get from this freaking show. But lately, fans have not been feeling it. And just recently, when ABC came out with a list of shows that they would be renewing for the year 2026, The Bachelor was not on there, and people thought that it was potentially getting canceled, and they weren't even mad. They weren't even surprised by it. But it was just a little bit of a delay. The show is renewed and it is coming back for future seasons, but people for a second there were like, all right, which is crazy because a few years ago, people wouldn't have been saying that about The Bachelor. So there's been a lot of talk as to why people are feeling this way about a show that has been on for so long. And a lot of people feel like it just boils down to the fact that people aren't really on for the right reasons, but also there's been just so much that's going on there. It feels like they're trying too hard to make the show hit with the audience again, and it's just not working. They clearly tried with The Golden Bachelor, hoping that older people would be more genuine about finding love, but it hasn't proved to be the case. And now fans are weirded out by the mixing they're trying to do for Bachelor in Paradise this upcoming season, which it seems they were trying to do this for ratings, but it isn't exactly working, as even people that have been on The Bachelor in the past are coming out to comment on the situation, feeling just yucky about it. Producers decided to mix the Bachelor cast with the Golden Bachelor cast, and they will all be in Paradise together. So people in their 20s, people in their 60s, they're gonna be mingling together. Chicks in the Office posted on Instagram saying Jesse Palmer hopes for age gap relationships on Bachelor in Paradise. They shared this quote that he said, "Hopefully, yes, the golden contestants date the younger contestants. This happens all the time in the real world. Look at Bill Belichick right now. It's happening in front of us. I don't know if it will, but I think it'll be cool to have the Goldens around." The thing that I love about the Golden Bachelor so much is they've lived so much more life that their advice, their conversations, the stakes for them are just so much bigger. I think that'll be a good thing for them to impart on all these young kids. And former Bachelor contestants replied to this and said, don't think we should be encouraging 50-year age gaps. And Jade Roper said, ew. Jade later replied to someone who questioned her ew and said, I was on this show. It would have made me feel very uncomfortable having 6 old men trying to hit on me constantly on a beach for a month. Is that good enough for you? Aside from these comments, people just feel weird about who they've cast to be the next Golden Bachelor after a recent interview. Mel Owens was announced as the next Golden Bachelor, and he's 66 years old, but in a recent interview, people were pretty turned off by the fact that he didn't seem to want a woman who was over 60 to be cast for him. As he said, it's blind up until they get out of the limo, but they asked me what's your preference, so I said 45 to 60, just being honest. Owens, the former NFL veteran turned lawyer and father, shared in a June 4th interview with In the Trenches, a podcast hosted by John Jansen for the University of Michigan Athletics. And then the process went, and I was selected, right? And then we had lunch with the executive producer. I said, you know, if they're 60 or over, I'm cutting them. The 60-year-old said, oh, Mel, you can't. You know this is not the Silver Bachelor, it's the Golden Bachelor. He goes, but they're going to be hot. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I had no resume, but they asked me, what is my profile? Owen said, well, they gotta be fit because I stay in shape, should work out and stuff. And I told them, you know, try to stay away from the artificial hips and the wigs, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Well, I don't think there are going to be artificial hips or wigs there, right? Because I know there's amazing women out there, Owens tells Jansen before elaborating more on his type. Other than no artificial hips or wigs, Owen says he's looking for someone who's a lifetime learner, enjoys to love life and work out and stay fit and eat and have fun and be energetic and life live. People just did not think that he needed to maybe vocalize this at all, and that it just turned them off completely from watching the upcoming season, because I think when you think about the Golden Bachelor, you're thinking that this is going to be this wholesome, like really pure television where these older people are going to be looking for love after maybe they've lost the love of their lives, just something that really pulls on your heartstrings. So to hear a man go, I want someone that's a little younger than me, I don't want any artificial hips, no wigs, you're like, well, all right, that's not really tugging at my heartstrings right now. And just speaking of the show in general, I mean, so many fans are pointing out that there are just a little too many shows now. There's The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Paradise, Golden Bachelor, Golden Bachelorette. It's just a lot. And at one point they were having The Bachelorette in January, Paradise, and then Bachelor by the end of the year. It was overwhelming. And instead of letting the brand breathe and actually focus on telling compelling stories, it felt like producers were just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something would stick or one of the seasons would go viral. Storylines would feel rushed, connections didn't feel real, couples would break up almost immediately after the shows had aired, or worse, they broke up in between the time that the show wasn't even done airing, and then it's awkward at the finale, and it's a whole thing. And people have been looking at shows like Love Island and seeing how they compare to The Bachelor and feel like, you know, what is missing with The Bachelor? Because people these days are really invested in shows like Love Island, and they do love reality TV. And people that are going on these shows like Temptation Island and Love Island, like they're going on for fame, you know, they're not all going on for love at the end of the day, but there's something about these shows that has people tuning in more than they're tuning into The Bachelor. So like, what really at the end of the day is the issue here? Some are saying that with Love Island, it's the real-time aspect, the fact that people can cast votes and feel like they have some stake in the show. And maybe The Bachelor should let people vote for who we want to be the Bachelor or Bachelorette or something, so people are more invested before it even comes on, or even let us narrow down contestants. Because with that, I feel like people get cast and then it gets announced and then people start Googling who these people are, and then they find out that they have this past and that past, and then they're like, why were they even cast? And they're upset with producers. So I feel like letting the audience have a hand in maybe the final selection would help out a bit. I don't know. It feels like a step in the right direction though. When Love Island first aired this season, people were certainly giving their opinions as to the differences with The Bachelor.
Bachelor franchise is cooked. You're done. Game over. Watching Love Island, you get real music, right? You're listening to Sabrina Carpenter, you hear Megan Thee Stallion, you have Megan Thee Stallion on the show. I watch The Bachelor, you have these F-list country stars coming on, and you're making the girls be like, oh my God. But on Love Island, you have genuine excitement with like an A-list star with Meg Thee Stallion. Also with The Bachelor, it's so easy to just act. You're watching people and you're like, do I like her? Do I not? Whatever. On Love Island, you're watching them 24/7. Like, this is my type of show. People are being real. And if they end up in a relationship at the end, it's like great. But if not, it's just fun. So that's just kind of it. It's just kind of it. Bachelor USA, you're kind of done. You're cooked. The Bachelor franchise is cooked. You're done. Game over. Watching Love Island, you get real music, right? You're listening to Sabrina Carpenter, you hear Megan Thee Stallion, you have Megan Thee Stallion on the show. I watch The Bachelor, you have these F-list country stars coming on, and you're making the girls be like, oh my God. But on Love Island, you have genuine excitement with like an A-list star with Meg Thee Stallion. Also, with The Bachelor, it's so easy to just act. You're watching people and you're like, do I like her? Do I not? Whatever. On Love Island, you're watching them 24/7. Like, this is my type of show. People are being real. And if they end up in a relationship at the end, it's like great. But if not, it's just fun. So that's just kind of it. It's just kind of it. Bachelor USA, you're kind of done. You're cooked.
And people commented on this and they were like, I love the diversity on Love Island. It's too conservative and too edited. They haven't updated their concept in decades. LOL, it's kind of sad. The Bachelor/Bachelorette was huge in 2015 to 2020, where even non-viewers knew things. Just like what is happening with Love Island USA last year and now. I feel like Gabby was the last lead the general public actually knew. Months of known spoilers, multiple contestants to one lead, lack of diversity, and repetitive storylines just lost the fun when Love Island, Love is Blind, and multiple of other fresh shows are out. Like the fact that the public gets to vote and Love Island is happening in real time makes it so much more engaging. The Bachelor has always been a strange concept to me, and the way it's spun as true love is insane. How could you possibly potentially be in love with 15 people? It's always so cutesy and romantic and cringe. Love Island is raunchy and chaotic. That's what I need. It does feel like a lot of people are talking about the concept of The Bachelor with someone dating like 20 people. It's just like not something that they're interested in watching. So I don't know, maybe they tweak some things here or focus solely on Paradise, and maybe they don't mix the Goldens with younger cast members. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about how The Bachelor could save the franchise and get more people to tune in. If you guys have been watching, if you guys don't think The Bachelor needs to change, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.